Hello guys and welcome back to Car Obsession. Today you join me in the Subaru XV, which is very dirty because I took it off-road yesterday. That video will come in due course, or maybe it's already uploaded. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that because today I'm not focusing on the off-road capability of this car, I'm focusing on the infotainment system. So as standard, you get an 8-inch touchscreen, which has Subaru's Starlink system. So this is really a short video to give you a run through its features and how well it performs. So let me boot the car up like so. Hopefully the radio won't come on. Right, so let me get my little camera out so you can actually see the system. So, right, let me turn it off again. Bear with me. There we go. So, you've got the touchscreen here. As you can see, it's actually got quite a scratch to it. I didn't do that. It was like that when I got the car, I promise. So let's turn the car on. Got keyless start. So as I mentioned, it is 8 inches. And the display is okay. It's not the slickest in the business, but I actually quite like the design. But yeah, to actually operate, it's not the most responsive to touch. So as you can see, as I'm swiping, nope. There we go. You do need to be a little bit firm with it. So you do need to be quite wary of your actions. You can't press it lightly. You do need to have quite a firm prod. So you get DAB radio as standard. So hit radio. As you can see, it loads up pretty quickly. If you can hear vibrating in the background, I think it's just where the system is trying to connect to my phone. So you've got DAB, of course, you've got AM, you've got FM, pretty standard stuff, and the system is pretty responsive. But like I say, the actual response to touch, it can be a bit hit and miss. So you've got media, so you've got Bluetooth connectivity. As you can see, it's trying to play my music. In fact, it is playing my music, but the system is on mute, of course. So yes, it works pretty well. And you've also got an auxiliary port down here in the cubby area. It's just there on the left hand side. Apologies if you can't see it. There we go, that's better. And as you can see, you've also got 2 USB ports and a 12-volt socket. Now, in case you are wondering, this doesn't have navigation. So if you want to have navigation, you will need to get the SE Premium. The car I'm sat in is the base model SE, but even though it's a base model, it still offers a good amount of kit. But yes, this car doesn't have navigation. However, there is a way around it. So I have to use my wife's phone, because if I plug my phone into the system, I may lose my recording, because it has happened to me before. Now, before I plug her phone in, I do have a bit of a small complaint. Now, as you've seen, you've got 2 USB ports in there, but they are really buried in here. They're really buried in the center console, and they may as well be in the engine bay because they're so far away. So when you're trying to plug a USB lead in, for me in particular, you may not have the same issue, because when you're sat here, you can't really see the USB port. Trying to get it in is a little bit tricky. So there we go. It does get easier when you as you get used to it, but yeah, it's not the most ideal. Now let me just pop this camera down so I can plug her phone in. Now she's got an iPhone, whereas I've got an Android phone. Right. Okay, I need to unlock the phone. I need your face. It's a good thing she came with me. There we are. So we now have Apple CarPlay appearing on the touchscreen. So we now have a 7th icon to look at. So this system does of course have smartphone connectivity. So it's got Apple CarPlay, as you can see, and it also has Android Auto. So some cars, they have Apple CarPlay but not Android Auto. This car does have both. So go into Apple CarPlay, and the system is as you would expect from Apple CarPlay. You've got a Subaru app. Oh, that just takes you back to Subaru. I was about to say, why's it got a Subaru logo? So as you can see, you've got the functionality as you would have normally. So yes, a few moments ago I mentioned this car doesn't have the navigation, but you can get around it by using Google Maps or Waze, or if you've got an iPhone, you've also got Apple Maps as well. So hit that, and as you can see, it's picked up where we are, and we can use navigation that way. So that works pretty well. Take us back to home. And then if I want to go back to the Subaru screen, I can do so. You may also note this car has a CD player, which does seem a little bit retro nowadays. Now, I've driven quite a few cars whilst I've been doing car obsession, and from experience, it only seems to be the Japanese cars that tend to have a CD player in them. Mind you, I have had one or two Fords that have had a CD player, but yeah, you don't get too many cars nowadays which offer a CD player. So that may be good for some of you, although this is 2019. I doubt that many people use a CD, but if you like to have that retro touch, then it's quite nice. Now, you've probably also noticed you've got shortcut buttons here, which are quite handy. So obviously that takes you back to home. You've got one for radio, which obviously takes you to the radio. One for media, which takes you to media. You get what I'm getting at here. You've also got two knobs either side. So that one you can tune the radio with, change the radio station, and this one is for your volume. So maybe it's not playing anything, so the volume isn't doing anything. The knobs do feel a little bit cheap if I'm going to be picky, but the buttons feel okay to use and they work well enough. They are a little bit loose, but I imagine for the majority of buyers you won't really care, but I'm just being picky here. And yeah, the buttons are okay, but they just feel a little bit cheap and a little bit loose. But the system overall, it works well enough. It isn't the slickest in the business, but I think for most buyers it should be fine. And by all means, it isn't the worst system I've ever used either. So you've also got a little screen up here, which you may have seen. Now, if you're wondering what that is, that's for one of my GoPros. So if you're thinking, what is that? That's what it is. So you've got a little screen up there, and you've also got a little digital display here. If I turn the car on, there we are. That gives you your MPG, and you've got a little button here, trip reset, where you can change it. And of course, you can hold the button down to reset your trip computer. You've got this digital display up here where you've got quite a lot of your information. So that's really for your off-road settings. So it tells you what kind of angle the car is at, and it gives you an idea of how hard the all-wheel drive system is working. It's quite handy. You've got a button down here where you can change it. Apologies, autofocus has let me down. Got info. Now you've got the source button that you can use to change from the radio to Bluetooth and so forth. And that's to change tracks, and that's obviously for the volume. So hit the info like so. I just wait for autofocus to keep up with me. And as you can see, it changes the dials. So you've got water temperature, oil temperature, average speed. Gives you your media details. Apologies, the autofocus doesn't want to focus on it. What I will say is that this screen is quite far back. Personally, I would like it to be a little bit further forward, because yeah, it does feel like quite a distance. You've got MPG and range, clock and date and time. And then you've also got this screen here where it tells you about the safety systems. This car's got a lot of safety systems, so much so that I am going to be filming another video today talking exclusively about the safety system. So if you want to know all about the Subaru XV safety systems, can't even get my words out, please do give that video a watch. And I think one more, and that takes me back to the kind of off-road display. So yeah, that is pretty much the Subaru Starlink system. My overall thoughts is it is a decent enough system. It's not the best, but it's by no means the worst. If I wanted to improve it, I would say the biggest thing for me would be just to make it a little bit more responsive to touch, and yeah, just make it a bit more, just make it a little bit slicker in regards to its operation. The design of it, I've got no real issues with. It looks okay. Again, it's not amazing, but it's not bad. But yeah, there we are, guys. That is the Subaru XV Starlink system. Let me turn this camera off. There we are. So if you have any questions about the system that I haven't addressed, please do get in touch. Put a comment in the comment section below, and I will answer your question or query as quickly and as quickly as possible and to the best of my ability. But in the meantime, I think that's pretty much me done. So I'd like to thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it or if you have found it useful, please do give it a massive thumbs up. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click that bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. And if you aren't subscribed, guys, what are you waiting for? Be sure to subscribe for more car obsession.